And welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football 101 first episode of the Whiteboard. Something I've been meaning to do, I've been trying to do, was trying to get this microphone right first. Hopefully you can hear me, because the Julio Jones piece, oh man, I was just ashamed of that, but I had to put it out to the masses that he was our number one wide receiver for 2015. And this was back in February. So we put that out in February, and we got the film on it, and it's on the YouTube channel. We already backed Julio Jones. Now he seems to be a fantasy favorite nowadays. But, when it's all said and done, guys, nobody knows who's going to be the number one wide receiver. You just looking at what you have, and you're just looking at the systems and schemes, so you're not guessing. That's what we do here. We pull it up, we run it through the grinder first, and I'm going to show you here on the whiteboard what the grinder is, and that's where we find who's who. Because now you got a lot of coach speak going on. And you got a lot of you gotta know what you're doing to read between the lines sometimes. Okay, for instance, you got let's say a player A is in camp, and then then it goes to mini camp. There's a lot of hype on player A, but the hype from player A is coming from his coach, the GM or the players. You take that in consideration. When you're going through the grinder, you have to take all information into consideration, but some of it you need to throw out. And you throw that out, especially when it's coming from coaches, now here's the caveat to that. Now, if the coach is saying, blase looked good out there today, he was outstanding in camp, that's nothing. That's just coach speak. He can say that about anybody. Now, when you hear a coach say, yeah, he looked good out there in camp when he was, when he did this and that, and we saw other ways we can use the situation. Now, that's real. Because he's telling you he saw something that, we can use this. We can bottle this up and take this out there on Sunday and unleash it on them. So it's a different when it's coming from coaches. When it's coming from players, come on. If a player comes out and says blase this, blase that about his teammate, what is he going to say? Of course, that's going to be good. You take that with a grain of salt, but you still got to listen to it because something was said. You can't just dismiss everything, but a lot of it you can, unless they're saying certain buzzwords that you want to hear. And I can't give you the full secret sauce. This episode, I can't give you the full secret sauce. This is just a generic, how can I say, bird's eye view of, just being a little transparency of what we here at Fantasy Football 101 do. Oh, by the way, I'm the Fantasy Typhoon. You can Google or Bing the Fantasy Typhoon, hit enter. Hey, that's my whole page. But let's take John Brown, because we have him down as a good piece to pick up in your redraft this year because he's going late. And we just want you to know that we're not just guessing. We're not just waking up in the morning, oh, yeah, let me just say something about John Brown. I got a gut feeling because, come on, man. Gut feelings is not a professional analyst way of looking at things. My 4-year-old daughter has a gut. She can tell me John Brown. She can wake up and say, you know what? John Brown gonna go out, Daddy. You want a little bit more substance than that. So when we say John Brown, is looking for a better year, we want to tell you, wow, okay, this is what we do to all 32 teams. We kind of sit back and go through it, and it's just a generic thing. And I'm just giving you just a generic version. All right, let's take a look at what we're working with here. You got the tackle. Then you have the guard. Then you have the center. Then you got the guard. Then you got the tackle. Okay. And you got Carson Palmer. Okay, now these guys playing. Now if it's not Palmer in, well Palmer's in. Palmer's doing 11 on 11. So he's ready. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 players. We got 5 missing. Right? All right. So let's go and look. You got Malcolm. You got Malcolm Floyd. He's going to be the X. And then you got Larry Fitzgerald over in the Z. Now they're going to switch. He's going to be over here. He's going to be over here. He's going to be here. He's going to be here. And he's going to be here. They might line Fitzgerald up here. You know, that's fine. We're just doing this on the base. We're just putting folks on the field so we can get the personnel. Because that's what you want, the personnel groups. That's the meat and crux of what the whole thing is about. That takes the guesswork out. Once you put it through the grinder and you see who's hitting the field, now that gives you a better idea of what they're going to do. Now we know when Floyd hits the field, this is him. That's Floyd or that. That's what Floyd does, folks. That's what you're getting. That's what you're getting out of Floyd. You're getting basically a go route or a post. It's something deep. That's why when you see his stats, he can easily have 135 and 2 touchdowns, and then come back the next week and have 2 catches for 30 yards. And it just makes you mad. But that's what you're getting with Floyd. This is what he brings to the table as an ex-receiver. Now Larry Fitzgerald, he's over here. He's doing the slants. He's doing a 9. He'll do an out. He'll get a bubble screen every now and then, just a quick one from the quarterback. He'll get that sometime. But that's not what I'm really trying to bring out to you. I'm really trying to get the personnel group. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the field. So we got three spots left for a starter or a considered starter before you get a personnel group. All right, you got Andre Ellington back here. That's 9. So now you got 2 spots. Now you got your tight end, the Y. You got him here. That's 10. So now what you have to do now you got to look through the roster and find that 11th guy. What you got? You got John Brown. You got Jerron Brown. You got Britton Golden. You got Ryan Spadola. You got J.J. Nelson. Drafted in the 5th round. You got Trevor Harmon. You got Jordan Shipley. And you got Dramon Powell. That's what you got working. So, or you can put another tight end on the field. Okay, let's say this here is Troy Nicholas. Is he hurt? I don't know if he's hurt or not. So just for the sake of this, we'll just say it's Nicholas. Nicholas or Ted Boozler. Either one of those is right here. So they don't have a athletic tight end besides Nicholas. So they don't have a U. So it's not a tight end. So you have Nicholas here. So it's not going to be a tight end. So you can take him off the board. So where's the talent coming from? You either got Jerron Brown or John Brown. Either one of those are going to be your W, which is your slot guy. He's going to play over here or over here. Sometimes he can line up in the backfield. Sometimes he can line up on this side of the backfield behind the Y and hide behind him and come out this way. So that's what you're working with. So that's what you're working with, guys. All right. Safe to say, this has already been confirmed that that's John Brown. Now you got your 11. You got your 11 guys on the field. So you got 1 running back, 1 tight end. That's 11 personnel. Hold on, let me do it this way. So now what you're working with is 11 personnel. So if you're working with 11 personnel, this is your base. This is your base right here. This is what you're going to see them line up in most of the time. Is 11 personnel. So you already know what he's here to do. You know what he's here to do. So now John Brown is here to eat the middle up. He's here to eat that side up. He's here to do the pivots and come back. He's here to do the goals. He's here to do the post. He's here to do the outs and the comebacks. So his route tree now is massive. Now Troy Nicholas can come out occasionally and take care of the seams to keep pressure off him. And then you have, so see, this all works together. It's kind of like what you see in Indianapolis, what you see for the Colts, and you saw it when what is his name? When the future Hall of Famer went down over there for Indianapolis. You kind of saw it. You kind of saw it then. You kind of saw the disconnect when he went down. God, I just can't think of his name. I'm sorry. I just can't even think of his name. But when he went down, you saw all the attention go over to Hilton, and he's a W. W can't handle it. A W can't handle the cornerback attention and the safety's attention and the linebacker's attention. Because if the X is not drawing that to keep this a one-on-one situation, then the whole offense is in trouble. Because a W can't lead it. So in other words, John Brown can't eat unless everybody eats. You see what I'm saying? So John Brown needs the big Floyd and Fitzgerald for him to succeed. So he's in a prime example. So he's in a prime position of a breakout because he's going to be on the field. This is 11 personnel. This is their base. It's not going to be Nicholas or Bosler. Floyd, I mean, Fitzgerald's role has been reduced a little bit more than what we really want it to be. But Floyd still has talent. Nobody's saying doesn't have the talent. He's just a little bit slower on film than he used to be. All right, let's go. Let's take a look at. Let's take a look at. Okay, I got a lot of questions about Josh Hill. Okay, you know, a lot of guys are saying when Kenny Stills left and when Kenny Stills left and Jimmy Graham left, Hill is automatically open for those targets. Okay, is that real, or is it just talk? Because here's a nugget here, and I hope you're listening to it. Here's a nugget. Fantasy football is a mirror of what happens in the NFL. It's not vice versa. You can't tell fantasy football and then it goes and happens in the NFL. It comes down. It's the NFL, what a coach see and how he's going to use a person, and then he puts the scheme in place. Then he teaches the player the routes and the concepts, and if he can get out and perform, then that trickles down to your fantasy. It don't go fantasy up. It comes NFL down. And I know it's simple. But when you think about it, a lot of folks are going from fantasy up instead of coming from the NFL down. That's the way it works. So, all right, let's take a look at what you're working with. Okay, you got your tackle here. You got your guard here. You got your center here. Well, that's a messed up C. You got your guard here, and you got your tackle here. You got Drew Brees. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 folks on the field right now. We hadn't even gotten to Hill. All right? That's 6 on the field. Now you got Cooks. He's playing. He's a first-round pick. The guy's going to be on the field. So now you're working with Hill Hill. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you got 4 spots left. So now you got Marquez Colson. It's safe to say Marquez Colson is starting. I don't think no one's taking his spot. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. So we got 3 spots left. We still hadn't got to Hill yet. Now here's the deal. Now this is where it gets interesting at. Because this right here is going to tell you who hits the field. Now okay, so this is what you're looking for in preseason. So this is kind of like a to be continued, because you don't have enough information to say if Hill's going to dominate or not yet. We don't think so, because when you run it through, you see Benjamin Watson as a better blocker. So he's going to be the Y. So this is the guy you should be looking for, because he's on the field automatically. You know, he's the one. I mean, we're looking at Watson like, okay, he's getting overlooked. Now, we're not saying Watson going to break out, and we're not saying pick up Watson. We're just telling you what to look for. And it will be confirmed preseason. It will be confirmed preseason who's the Y. If Hill comes out at the Y, he has a good shot. We don't think Hill's coming out at the Y. His blocking skill isn't better than Watson. So now you got him as a Y. So that leaves what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, you got your running back, Mark Ingram. That's 10. So now you got one spot. So okay, now you're looking at the depth chart. Now that's where the depth chart. You got Nick Toon, you got Santavius Jones, you got Brandon Coleman, you got Josh Morgan. He's in there too. You can't count him out. That's basically who you really got fighting for that spot. And then you got Josh Hill, because there's one more guy, and that's going to tell you what base is. Now, could it be Santavius? Could it be the big guys, Santavius Jones and Brandon Coleman? If it's one of them, they're going to play the X. They're coming over there. They're coming over to the X, guys, because they're a bigger guy, which is going to move Colson into the W. That's going to move him into the slots. So that could happen. That could happen. That could very well happen, which now takes Hill off the field, or he could. Which would be 11 personnel, or he could go 21 personnel. Put C.J. Spiller back here, move him out to here or to here to the slot. Now you got 21 personnel as your base. With C.J. Hill is still not on the field. So, I mean, what you want to do, you want to put the most talented players on the field. Am I right? I'm pretty sure Sean Payton wants the Warriors on the field. He wants his most talented folks on the field. So there goes another obstacle for Hill to overcome before he's relevant. He hadn't even hit the field yet. So for him to hit the field, it's got to be 12 personnel. It's got to be, oh man, you see that? It's got to be 12 personnel. That's a messed up 12. It has to be 12 personnel, guys, for him to be the U. And then he can move here. They can sit him here. They can sit him here on blocking downs, on running downs, which is a good concept. That's a good way to be. Because when you're in your base, is you want your best personnel on the field without giving up what you're doing. That's what you want. So putting a tight end here, now when you run, you can still B gap, B gap, C gap. You can still get it done. with a tight end on the field and not giving up to the defense, whether it's a pass, whether they need to play coverage, or whether they need to play the run. So you still have a chance to fool the defense. So that's what you're looking at there. As far as now, like I said, this guy here is going to be on the field. Now we expect. Now let's just say, just going by the depth chart, TYPHOON is the man that's going to do the W. So now you got 11 personnel. So basically what we're saying is there's going to be a lot of switching. They're going to come out with TYPHOON, and it depends on what the defense is doing. Now, if defense coming out with a smaller guy, they putting a linebacker on TYPHOON, then they coming out with TYPHOON. And if they coming out with nickel, then they're going to put in, then they're going to bring in heel, which is the U. So so the personnel now is suspect because it all depends on what they're doing. So they're going to counter, Sean Payton is going to counter what they're doing. So now you see it's okay to say those snaps got to go somewhere. It's okay to say that, but when you look at it, that's not that simple, because you still got guys on the field that must play. Hill's not talented enough to take a spot. Now, if Hill was an excellent blocker or excellent talent like Graham, then you can say, okay, Graham is a monster. You can't just look at Graham like he's an average guy. You don't replace a monster with an average guy. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm looking for a tight end, I'm looking to take a flyer on this. You know, because, I mean, in our rookie draft, we were sitting there looking at guys take Josh Hill in the second round instead of Duke Johnson. I'm like, what? But, I mean, you know, that's the information they were dealt. They just going off the information they got. So they're making the best fantasy decision that they can. And we're not knocking on one. We're not saying we're better than no one. That just baffled us as to why would you spend a second-round pick on a guy who basically in some games he won't even be a factor, because the matchup is going to be TYPHOON based. So TYPHOON is going to come in there and eat. Or they're going to bring in Spiller. You can have them on the field at the same time. Like I said, Hill will have some up times when it's his time, but he's going to be streaky. Hill is going to be streaky. He might come out and give you 6 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. And in the next game, it'll be a Bill Belichick thing. The next game, he might be a healthy scratch. They brought in a new center here in Unger, because they want the AB gap. A gap. That was the A gap, and then the B gap. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to push the ball. So a lot of those targets that everybody's saying Jimmy Graham left on the table could go to Ingram and Spiller. If they're doing good on first down, if they're doing this is what the game plan is for New Orleans. If they come out, Ingram running it through here or wherever he needs to go, and whichever the player's design, Ingram is getting 3 to 5 yards. They're running again. This way, that way. You know, because they're a power system. So they could be pulling him over here. And they're running this way, behind Ben Watson. So there's a lot of ways this offense can go. It's a lot of guessing going on when you're making a Josh Hill, you know, pick him up sleeper type thing. You bump your brakes there a little bit. You need to wait to preseason. You know, sometimes you gotta wait. Sometimes it's best to say I don't know. So you gotta wait on that one. That's what we here at Fantasy Football 101 say. Now let's go into the last one. I'll just get to this one. This is one I found, you know, just going through the rosters, and it'll surprise you. And I'll just let it tell itself. Let's go to the Patriots. Go to the New England Patriots and pull them up. Let's look at their roster. Now we all know Belichick is going to use his players. You come to the team, if he sees something in you, he's going to use your strength. We all know that. Belichick has a system. They can run zone, they can run power, they can go modified spread. They can pretty much line up any way the opposing defense want to do it. They can bring in a fullback and light you up. So it depends on the defense's weakness is what Belichick will do. Belichick's good at that, and I got to give him that. I got to give that man his credit. A lot of coaches see it. They won't do it because they're stubborn and hard-headed, not him. And, you know, they brought home another Super Bowl championship, so you got to give it to him. But let's go through it right quick. All right, you got your tackle. You got your guard. You got your center. You got your guard. And you got your tackle. All right, now you got Brady. Let's just say Blunt for the sake of the demonstration. Right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So four guys getting ready to play. Let's say LaFell over here in the X. Then you put Edelman. You bringing Edelman in. You bring him over there. So now you got Gronk at the Y. Now, what's amazing about Gronk can come out here. Gronk can come here. Gronk can come here. Gronk can come here. And Gronk can come here. It don't matter. So Gronk is your piece. Gronk is your secret weapon, basically. Well, not a secret weapon, but you know what I'm saying. Gronk is where the ball's going. Because his size and athletic ability for a tight end, he can be moved to the mismatch. So he's going to get his. So you're looking at the depth chart. You got Amendola, you got Timms, you got Matthew Slater, Josh Boyce, and Dobson. Then you got the sneaky guy nobody's talking about. Nobody. Scott Chandler. Right there. Uh-oh. Now you got Big with LaFell. But you got LaFell over there. What, he's 6'2". And you got Chandler here. He's what, 6'5", 6'6"? And then you got Gronk. Or Belichick could come out this way. This is what I think he's going to do. Belichick could come out this way, put Chandler here, hand in the dirt. Now you got Gronk out here. Gronk's playing over Amendola. You know, Amendola's not going to take LaFell reps. He's not going to take Edelman reps. I don't think Amendola is basically on Brady's trust list yet. That's why when you hear news out of camp that, oh no, he's here now. That Chandler and Brady now are getting on a page, on the same page. Uh-oh. So you take that. That was just a little nugget. That was just a little piece of nugget that you needed to add to the puzzle. So now you got tall guys, but we know he's going to do his. He's working here, bubble screen. You know, he's doing that. He's not doing that. He's not doing 9 routes. Now he might do one of those. He's not doing a 9. You got LaFell over here doing the 9. You take that to the bank, especially when they get down near once they cross midfield, get about the 40-yard line, getting ready to go to the touchdown. You see when that's coming. LaFell's coming. Now LaFell do a slant here and there. He'll come sit down in the seam here every now and then. But now that leaves Gronk free now, and this is base. They can do this. Just think back when they had Aaron Hernandez. He was the move guy, the joker, what you call it. And you had Gronk over here with his hand in the ground. And they tore you up with that system. So now we're not saying pick up Chandler. We're just saying, hey, this you need to pay attention to that. If where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, so you hearing rumblings now that that Chandler and Brady. Let me just say this right here, and then I'll close. This is automatically. This is 9 times out of 10. That's your red zone package. That right there. You got 6'6", 6'5". And then we can either sneak one in with LeBlunt for a touchdown. We can go here, touchdown. That's if you're doubling Gronk. You got 2 on Gronk. That's what we'll do. All right. Let's say Chandler comes in and starts going touchdown. You put 2 on Chandler. Now you got 1 on Gronk. All right. Let's say you come out and you put 1, 2 on Gronk and 1, 2 on Chandler. Now LaFell gonna eat you up. Or we can run Blunt. Or we can run a slant. We can almost take that to the bank as far as your goal line package. So Scott Chandler's going to score touchdowns. And when he starts scoring touchdowns and Josh McDaniels starts seeing that mismatch that he's bringing to the table and starts seeing how unstoppable 12 personnel is, folks, this might be your base package come week 4, week 5. That's your base package. Whew. Scott Chandler, boy. That's one to look out for. You might want to go get him on the wire right now because he's sitting there. Nobody's talking about him. You don't get this nowhere else. But we just want to go over some things, man, that we just been going through. This is what we do during the off season. We get in the lab, man. We sit back and we go because, like I said, man, please make sure you get it. It's got to happen in the NFL first before it happens on your fantasy score on Sunday. If it's not, you're playing fantasy football. We don't want you playing fantasy football that way in your mind. We don't want you to have a dream that will never come true in your mind because it don't make sense here. So that's just a segment that we're going to start coming out with, guys. Trying to help you dominate your leagues, man. Trying to help, just trying to bring nuggets to you. And, we can sit here all night and go through all 32 teams, man, and bring out nuggets. And we'll talk about Duke Johnson. We'll tell you what we saw in him. We can show it to you. C.J. Anderson. That dude is about to be a beast. But but you knew that already. Like I said, when we sit in our draft plan, we're not really looking at rankings. We're looking at who's where, and is that a group that could be used. And we'll also go over Kamar Aiken. Why you get him? We put it through the grinder. He came out. He might be the best wide receiver to come out through the grinder thus far. And we know we was digging through Scott Chandler, and we'll go through. Let's see. Next show we'll do Kamar Aiken. We'll do Hausler, and just shoot me a text. I'm sorry. Just shoot me Twitter. Just shoot me something on Twitter. If you have 2 suggestions, we'll do 2 more players next time. If you have any questions or concerns about, we'll just run them through the grinder, and let's see what the personnel tells us. Because you can't tell the fantasy player to be great. He's got to tell you. So that's what we do here. So in closing, you can find me, Google or Bing, the Fantasy Typhoon, and hit enter, man. That's me. That's my whole page. I write for a whole lot of stuff. I do a lot of ghost writing on a lot of sites. So, a lot of content that's coming out. And I'll leave you with my motto. Don't just win, dominate.